This is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much Cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does Cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't.
Olha, Teizé, escala bem, faz duplo abate, vamos, Fogão!
Se acaba tempo e leva!
Today, 4 teams make their debut and begin the road to champions. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Day 2 of VCT Americas, coming at you live from the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles, California. Of course, joining me right here on the desk are 2 people who never, ever make me feel old and confused. It's Mimi and Bren. Hey, guys, good to see you. How's everything?
Another day in beautiful paradise, Los Angeles, baby. Woohoo! Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm gonna have fun today. I'm telling you now. Yesterday I was a bit, listen, I wasn't feeling too good. A little bit under the weather.
It's okay, puppy.
You have my back?
Okay.
You have my back as well?
I don't know what that
What are we doing here? What's going on? What is this opening?
I feel like we're having like a seance. What is this?
What is going on?
We should just join hands and
I
let's do it.
don't want to join hands.
I don't want to do
Let's
that.
just go. Let's get on with the show.
I was so excited. But here's the thing, guys. Yesterday, we actually kicked off VCT Americas with 2 fantastic matches, and we've got 2 more on the docket today. So coming up first, we're going to have a Brazilian showdown part 2. It's going to be MIBR taking on Loud, and then we're going to have 2 North American squads going head-to-head. It's going to be Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses. I think, when you look at our first game of the day, we're just curious to see if Loud are going to be coming out with the same kind of firepower that we're used to seeing. And then on the other side, well, Cloud9 EG.
Yeah, that second game is going to be crazy. We have absolutely no idea what to expect with Cloud9 after the huge changes that they made after lock-in. And for EG as well, it's like, what version of that team are we going to get? So it's 2, inter-region rivalries, matchups. Is inter the right word? Is it intra?
It would be inter in this case, because intra, it would be like if you played against...
Yeah, I didn't play sports in high school, so that's the only way I would have known that word, so I didn't learn.
All right, guys. Well, look, I know that we have a lot of viewers here, at the start of the season that are new, right? And I want to welcome you guys in because I care about y'all that are watching at home, even though some of you have no idea who the hell I am. But that's okay because, I'm not going to leave you guys behind. We're going to recap day 1, and we're not going to use any of that high-level, fancy, analytical talk. We're going to keep it nice and simple, all right? I want parents to be able to understand this, and we're bringing it back, baby. It's taboo analysis. So, Mimi, you're going to go first, and you're going to tell everyone what happened in the Sentinels versus 100 Thieves game yesterday without saying ability names, agent names, weapon names, and map names. So, basically, everything.
Everything. That graphic actually feels like a little bit of justice. But okay, we're hopping straight into things. We had Sentinels versus 100 Thieves. These were 2 teams from North America. And the first game, there was a change in the kind of guy that they play. It was the guy who covers the areas for Saucy instead of his normal role of the guy who gives the information. So that worked pretty well. It was a game about how the people in charge make the decisions in the middle of the games. And for Sentinels, they made some good decisions. Even if the initial decision didn't seem good, they managed to come up with new decision and win the game. So I liked their ideas overall. I think that Tens got to play the Wind Girl and use the big boomstick that one-shots people, and that was a lot more comfortable for him.
Wind Girl!
I like that at the end.
I love
tied together a little bit.
That was good. Well
at the beginning, I was like, what is Blood waffling about? It worked at the end.
It's time for you to waffle.
Time for you to waffle. Okay. All right, Bren, it's going to be your turn, buddy. You're going to take on Crew versus Furia. I know you have a lot to say about this game.
Okay, Crew versus Fury, yeah. Crew undefeated against Brazilian teams, and we started things off on the map that's based in Japan around public transport areas.
That's great.
Good job.
And obviously massive performances from NW0 when he was playing, again, the Explosion Lady. He had a great time. Normally playing the lady that just creates conjurations out of animals, but outside of that, the second map, first half ended up being a lot closer, quite back and forth, but when it got into that second half, it was really just Furia taking it away in a pretty dominant fashion. They were showing themselves largely in charge. A lot of the anchoring from Cleo playing the dark, edgy teenager character.
Okay.
Oh, I messed up. I said Omen at the end.
It's okay. It's all right. The clip's done.
Dark,
the clip's
edgy
done.
teenage
The dark, edgy teenage character.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one. All right, well, look, guys, I don't know if Twitter's going to be here tomorrow, so I'm going to keep it real with y'all. Y'all go ahead and use those hashtag VCT Americas, VCT. Tell us who was better at the recaps. Who did you learn from? Okay? That's the real question here. And whether or not you want them to do taboo analysis throughout your regular life. All right, well, here it is. On today's poll, who did it better? Is it the Zoomer or the Doomer? Scan that QR code, okay?
What?
And then we'll decide later.
who's the
Which
Zoomer,
one
who's
of
the
us is the doomer?
I don't know. It's up to Kurt to decide. I haven't really thought about that part.
Yeah, but the people need to know.
That ain't my job.
Okay,
You know what I mean? So y'all go ahead, have a great time, vote that one, and have a blast. Anyway, folks, we're going to need to take a break for a minute, and then we're going to break down Loud versus MIBR. As always, you know where we're going to see you on the other side.
Bom, o jogo contra a Loud vai ser o primeiro de campeonato internacional de brasileiro contra brasileiro, até onde eu me lembro. Então a Loud também vem com grandes expectativas, é o time que ficou em segundo loquinho, é o atual campeão mundial.
A Loud vem de um ano muito incrível, né, da parte deles, então a gente tem que seguir trabalhando, focado. Não vai ser fácil, então vamos ficar se dedicando, vai ser um jogão.
Cara, eu joguei bastante contra a Vivo Cage, que era o time do Hit, do Maurice. Então, eles são players muito bons e eu espero que vai ser um jogo difícil.
A mesma região se enfrentando, então os jogadores se conhecem mais no geral. A gente joga rank, a gente joga faz 3 anos contra eles, a gente sabe o que eles gostam de fazer, cada jogador.
Estou bem animado para jogar contra eles, que eles são também um time brasileiro. Então vai ser uma partida bem divertida de se jogar e vai ser muito bom jogar novamente com o meu time, um campeonato e sendo a nossa segunda experiência juntos de campeonato.
What a clutch! He's still available, ready with the weapon in his hand, and 5 in a round.
We're starting off the day with Loud and MIBR, two Brazilian squads that have a lot of history. And usually that history has Loud usually winning. So I think it's safe to say that going into this one, Mimi and Brent, it's going to be you're looking at this and you're saying, Loud, the champions, the Istanbul champions, second place at lock-in, they have to absolutely perform here.
Yeah,
today.
high expectations, I think, for Loud as well coming out of the back of it. They're taking this entire 2023 season quite seriously. I mean, they were boot camping before lock-in in Europe for many, many times as well, and undefeated as well across all of the Brazilian teams. As you can see, like, especially when they play regionally, I believe that was 21-0.
Yep.
They are undefeated across the board when they play against their regional competition back when they were playing in Brazil. Now it's the Americas. The competition, obviously, is going to be taken from a lot of the regions as we're playing in the Americas for 2023. But they did come off the back of a really heavy top finish at Champions. Couldn't quite get that back-to-back 2-time trophy, though.
But they got close, and that's what made things so impressive because they had quite a few changes during the offseason, and one of those was losing out on their coach, Bazooka. You saw him lifting the trophy with this squad at Champions 2022, and now he's actually moved over and is trying to develop this MIBR squad. FRC as well used to play with Sadak, so there's a ton of history between these Brazilian players in this match today.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and put the spotlight first, though, on our Istanbul Champions winners. Of course, we have Loud. This team comes with a lot of firepower, and as you had mentioned, right, you know, this team, after Champs, they lost their coach. They lost 2 key players in Sasi and Pancada, and yet somehow, Mimi, some way, this team still continues to be the best in the game.
I mean, the expectation of most people heading into lock-in was like, this was probably Loud's second choice. They wanted Sasi and Pancada to stay with the squad. But despite these changes, they still managed to come out, completely reinvent their style, really, where before they were super slow, methodical. At lock-in, they were able to bring out these double duelist comps and also innovate with the double wall comps with Viper and Harbor as well. And they still perform to that level, which I think is an achievement that very few teams in history have been able to pull off. off.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And those 2 new additions that they brought in the form of 2 years in Kawazine as well. Expectations, at least for me, coming into lock-in, I didn't expect much from them because these were 2 rookie players, essentially, to this kind of level of play.
And they were playing in Sao Paulo.
Yes, and so all the pressure was on these 2 individuals, but they formed into diamonds over the course of it. Sometimes the pressure can cause you to crumble, and sometimes it does create those diamonds. And of course, Loud's system as well, the structure that they had, really did help facilitate these 2 individuals into being some of the best players in their roles now in Americas. Unheard of, by the way. Unheard of.
Yeah.
That you get to that point where you can take players that are so new to their own roles as well and actually just form them in this way. But they popped off on the big stage.
Yeah, they absolutely did. GB, you've talked about this before. The idea was that Loud wanted to find the 2 best individual young players they can in Brazil, because both these guys did not play that controller role. They were both duelist players. They switch on over, and for Tui's, I felt he was the best Harbor player of the event.
Yeah.
And I also felt Kawazine was probably the best Sky player of the event.
Yeah.
And those are 2 roles that very much are super important to the style that Loud was playing. This is one of the youngest teams we have. 2 17-year-olds, 2 19-year-olds, and they are performing under the pressure of thousands of fans in front of them. Yeah. It's truly miraculous.
And just to add in real quick as well, I mean, you talked about that style that they were innovating and pushing forwards of the Harbor and the Viper as well. I mean, 2 years in Kawazine were integral towards this as well.
Yeah.
In terms of being part of that and being able to push that forwards. If they didn't fit in that system fast enough, like, listen, if you're trying to innovate and push the meta forwards like that, it can flop on its face, honestly, when you try and bring that out lock-in on the big stage, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, instead they've come out and they look like really a smart team, just trying to push as well how they're going to be playing the game. And it's worked out for them pretty nicely. I think these next 9 weeks are going to be probably telling a pretty similar tale to what we saw, that level of dominance from Loud.
And I think that goes to show for Sadak, the IGL of this team, that he is really one of the GOATs of developing rosters, because he helped build that Loud squad, and now he helped rebuild this squad and still managed to hit this same height. So Loud's expectations coming into Americas is sky high. We've heard from the players, this is the team to beat.
Yeah, and it goes without saying, like, again, everyone's going to be looking at Loud. All eyes are going to be on them. Lots of pressure. Don't think that team is all that worried, considering how well they did in Sao Paulo and, just the firepower that they possess, which is going to make it very challenging for their opponents, MIBR, because the last time we actually saw this squad, they only had 1 match of lock-in, and they went out in the first round at the hands of Talon, who had a deep run, but we're seeing what's happening over in the Pacific region right now. Talon's kind of struggling a little bit, so it does kind of give me pause for this MIBR team.
Yeah, and I think for MIBR as well, it kind of, begs the question as well as they were heading into lock-in about, sometimes we were talking over and over again about the crowd being this massive boon to any team that was, had it cheering behind them. I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, though, as well, because we saw the best being brought out of teams like Furia and Loud as well from that crowd. But for a team like MIBR, all the pressure is on them from the get-go as well. And Talon just obviously ended up playing way over their peak, I think, as well. It's safe to say now that we've seen that team play for a couple of times. But MIBR itself as well, I think they struggled a little bit there. So they're probably going to be looking over these next 9 weeks to probably take a better a look as well and try and, I think, get some of those maybe not nerves under control, but a better look at themselves.
Sure, and I think one of the biggest issues they had at lock-in is that in this game versus Talon, they were really struggling to adapt. It felt like they were falling into the same pitfalls over and over again. For instance, on this Haven game, they were getting double reflanked round after round by Talon when they were trying to go for these side executes, consistently getting stalled out, and their default was never really finding much value. Sure, they did come up with new ideas, but that was generally after they called a timeout, got another voice into this roster. So in this game and in the start of Americas, I'm looking towards FRZ to see what he can do as the IGL of this squad, because I think there was a good bit of hype around him. He's played with Sadak before, he's played with Bazooka before, and is now back with him on this team. You expect this to be kind of similar to Loud, where we're seeing that new era of Brazilian Valorant that is so defined by these really great mid-round adaptations, but we weren't really seeing that at lock-in, and the hope is with a little bit more time, those ideas can maybe become a little bit stronger, but it's going to be so tough versus Loud.
Yeah, but also, too, you're kind of leaning on, in this particular instance, the individuals to kind of step up in these moments here. And I think, when you look at the players on the screen, one of my eye instantly gets drawn to Heat, because I'm actually quite curious to see how he's going to go toe-to-toe against someone as talented, as gifted as Aspas.
That's going to be a big task ahead, I think, because he's up against Aspas, this final boss player. Listen, the guy needs no introduction. We know what he's capable of. He's a heavy hitter. He's going to be making you work for every single win and round and make you scrap for it. But Heat is a player that I think is quite capable of it. The guy's incredibly gifted. I think heading even before lock-in, when I was watching a lot of his footage. At the event itself, his jet was magnificent. And I think that when he gets an op in his hands as well, this guy is an absolute menace in the server. But at Lock in itself, they switched his role up a little bit more. They were playing more of the Neon and Raze and making him play that, which I think put a bit of a dampener in terms of what he was able to do in the past, especially in online. Obviously, different levels of competition when you're playing at those big events in LAN form. But I honestly would like to see Heat return a little bit back to that jet as we head into this series here. I think teams have showcased so far in these early weeks of play that we've seen in all the regions, that you can actually, put players on their comfort roles and still find success of it. You don't necessarily have to play, the most, picture-perfect composition that works well for team play, like a Raze or a Neon in a comp. You can really facilitate those star players and put them in their comfort roles and still get the wins.
You absolutely can, and that was the case with this guy in 2021. I think he was kind of the prospect of Brazil that everyone was excited for to see at an international event back then. But in 2022, Aspas took that spotlight. So it's kind of a history of the next up player in Brazil from two different eras now converging in 2023.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup because we're going to learn a lot about, MIBR's prep work going into it. And also, hey, is Loud still loud, right? And I'm very excited about that. But we're going to take a quick break, though, because, well, it's for a really good reason. We're going to have our game in a little bit, so we got to take a pause for the cause. And also, we're going to have some Brazilian snacks and trivia. Oh, who doesn't love trivia? Stay with us. Welcome back, friends. MIBR and Loud will take the stage in just a few minutes. But right now, let's actually get to know our Brazilian teams a little bit better with a trivia game and assorted snacks from the regions. Who doesn't love free candy? I do. Look at me. All right, now here's the thing. We're going to get a few multiple choice questions. All right, and then if you answer right, you're going to get a reward. If you answer wrong, you get my undying hatred. Anyway, moving on.
That's menacing.
Here it is.
Oh,
candy. Let's go ahead and get the questions up on screen.
Yes.
Make sure I get it right. Okay, here it is. Which two Brazilian teams appeared at the first international Valorant event? Was it A, Team Vikings and Furia, B, Team Vikings and Sharks Esports, C, Liberty and Furia, or D, Pain Gaming? And who buzzed first?
Can I just buzz in at any time? I don't know if
Yeah, sure.
I just buzzed
Wait, it was Brent. It was Brent.
No, it wasn't.
Wait, it wasn't? Wait, no, it was you. Okay.
This guy's
Our
clueless.
producer's trolling me in my ears.
What
Go
is
ahead.
going on? It was Team Viking at Reykjavik? Yeah, Team Viking and Sharks, I believe.
And you are correct. You get a candy. Here, catch. All right, there you go. Okay.
I was not ready for that.
Number 2. Which of these agents has less from Loud not played? Is it Chamber, Raze, Jet, or Neon? Chat, what do you think? Ooh, wait, first was Bren.
Yeah, I believe it's Neon?
You are correct. All right, you get a candy. Great. All right, here we go. Number 3. Which of these Brazilian players has a successful 1v5 attempt? Oh, wait, I didn't even finish the reading, but
finish reading
Mimi,
the names out.
go for it.
I thought I knew this one. I don't think I do.
You just froze.
Just do that.
Saucy.
Okay, wait, you're going saucy?
I don't think that's right.
Wrong. Bren, your time. You get disrespect.
Give me,
Well, he knows the
well,
answer
it's
now.
Kawazine, of course.
Nice
You
job,
should have let
Brad.
Bren take it back.
Well done,
You
well
didn't get
done.
it right, so you're not getting
What do
candy.
you mean? I got it. Okay. All right, go
All
ahead.
right, last question. All right, which of these BR duelists has the most appearances on Jet? Let me finish reading.
Yep.
Is it Zandy? Zandy from Crew?
Shandy.
Shandy.
Excuse me, Aspas from Loud, Heat from MIBR, and QCK from, Bren was
He
first.
cheated.
I did cheat. I did cheat.
I did not
cheated.
finish reading.
I did
so
cheat. Mimi goes first. I
Mimi goes
cheated.
first.
Heat.
Heat, and you are correct. You got some candy.
Oh my God.
Great.
The team just attacked me.
Congratulations, Mimi.
I guess I'll try it.
across
It's
the
like a little
desk.
banana candy thing. This looks
Here,
good.
take this. Here, take that. You bother me.
Oh, is it like
All
a
right.
coffee?
These look pretty good.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to eat them now?
I'm eating mine now.
Okay, I'm gonna eat
Oh,
some
it's like
now.
a banana
Oh, I don't know what
licorice.
this is.
Oh, that's good. Okay,
The
great.
Brazilian
great,
snacks
great.
have always been good.
Yeah,
like when
no,
we were
okay.
in Sao Paulo.
One thing I will say is that while our time in Sao Paulo, the food, I mean, I think I said it a bunch of times on the broadcast, I ate a healthy amount, and
It's
I
like
had a great time.
nut-based.
Yeah, oh, what is that?
I don't know.
Is it nut-based?
It's like nutty.
Oh, wait, aren't you?
Is it like a chocolate thing?
Just messing around. Okay, well, let's actually go into some brief predictions. I mean, obviously, you know, everyone's got the eyes on Loud here, and I think that it goes without saying that we're all on the Loud hype train here.
Sure.
But I think the question is, like, is there that opportunity for MIBR to maybe have one of the biggest upsets of the year here, maybe?
I don't think so, to be
Yeah?
honest. I mean, Loud just looked so incredible at Lock-In. They had such fantastic ideas between varying their pace, between the double duelist comps, and Brent's just eating.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Enjoy. But yeah, they had the fast double duelist comps, they had the double controller, double wall comps, and they were able to adapt so well. All their individuals looks like absolute stars. And for MIBR, it didn't feel like they had all the pieces together when they were playing at Lock-In. Also, Loud's just never lost to another Brazilian team. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
agree.
Right. Good analysis.
He agrees. That's good.
Earlier in the show, though, we asked you guys who was better at the simple and direct match recaps. Was it the Zoomer or the Doomer? Seems like the results are in. Let's find out and see who ended up walking away with the win on that one. And also then we will determine who is the Zoomer and who is the Doomer. Because honestly, I don't
You're just going to make it up.
We're just going to make it up?
Are you just going to make it up?
Oh, I might just make it up on the go. I was told, by the way, that we are going to get to the poll in a little bit. But for now, though, we're actually going to go
Twitter
ahead
already
and
died. Is it
Twitter.
gone?
Yeah, I think it just got deleted. Everyone
They
lost their
shut down
check
the
mark. No
polls
one could
already?
participate in
That's
the poll.
crazy.
Let's talk about Sadak, though, real fast as we get things set up for this next game, because this guy is coming into it. Yeah, I think that, I mean, we could still make the case. Best IGL in the game right now, right?
I love this dude, honestly. I always rated him, most events he comes into, as a top 3 player. Quite controversial of me, but I think that he brings something that no one else really does. Flexibility. Look at the agents he plays at the top. Both events
Unreal.
as well. Plays a ton of stuff. He's a great team leader. He's been enabling the younger talent on his team as well. I'm still getting through this chocolate that's in my mouth as well. I'm struggling to talk. But he is a fantastic player, and I think that he's had a bit of a lessened impact, I think, especially at Lock-In. You can kind of just see that materializing in his numbers as well. But as an individual, he brings something that is very, very rare in a lot of talent, and that's that IGL and the experience in terms of his leadership and that flexibility, the ability to actually enable the rest of his team and put them first and himself second.
But do you think that that also could be because potentially, like, Solak doesn't need to do much right now, right? He's got guys like Kalamazine and Tuiz that can kind of, you know, and not to say that Sasi and Pincata weren't doing that either, but I do wonder if, like, he also feels like a little bit of that pressure has been alleviated off him as well, because he has these young fraggers on his team.
I think so. I think that does take the pressure off him, but I also feel like there never really was that pressure on him. I think your first point is probably more accurate. But I do think what's interesting is when we saw in the graphic there, the roles have changed quite a bit. Like, Sadak is the guy who I feel like is kind of selfless in his IGLing. Like, he will change his roles constantly, switch around to make his new players comfortable, as he did with this new iteration of Loud. He was playing the Duelist, he was playing the Sentinel. He's really willing to switch around to anything and can perform at a top level and call at a top level on any of those roles.
Yeah,
by the way, this candy's really good. This one was like a chocolate one.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying it here. And I think on the other side, you know, I am curious to see, you know, what Heat could do for MIBR, what FRZ could do, especially knowing that it's a tall task, right? Like, calling a game against Loud, it's not easy.
Yeah, I do wonder what MIBR are going to be cooking up. I will say, like, when I was watching their VODs ahead of Lock-In, outside of the one match that we saw from them at that event, I was actually quite impressed with the trajectory that they were having. And so, yeah, I think that I still think Loud are going to be heavy favorites here, but hopefully we see some good signs of life from MIBR here.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be awesome, though. But here's the thing, guys. Let's let you know, before we start the show, we want to let everyone know that the stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivity. So, of course, viewer discretion is advised. Make sure you take care of yourself. But MIBR and Loud are ready to take the stage, so let's go ahead and get right into it. VCT America starts right now.
O primeiro jogo vai ser a MIBR, time irmão da nossa terra brasileira, então vai ser time que realmente vai ser difícil de jogar contra.
He's still available, ready with the weapon in his hands. 5 in a round. Dodging a flash. Maurice is set up for it.
A gente ainda não conseguiu mostrar tanto do nosso jogo, então acredito que os fãs querem ver mais do nosso jogo, principalmente numa partida contra um time brasileiro. Então vai ser uma ótima partida, os caras da Loud são muito bons, são os melhores do mundo atualmente, então com certeza a gente vai conseguir ter um jogo muito bom.
Still within the sight is Kawazine, and he is holding down the line. The shots are missed, and he connects everything.
First matchup is against EG. I expect always to win against anybody I play. Everybody's the same. There's no threat.
It is going to be the Reds instead, but he's going to go swinging on it. What is that from Zappa?
I'm super excited to play them out the gate because obviously they're coming in with a lot of roster changes, a lot of shakeups.
So usually there's like two ways teams can go. It's like they have the new team buff and they're insane, and then two, it's like they're bad and they need time to gel. So we're hoping for that one.
I still don't think we beat them to this day, and it's the first game of the season, and you want to start off hot. So I think it's a pretty big deal if we beat them.
Welcome back, everyone. And yeah, I could totally see that they're right, especially for the Cloud9 EG rivalry and the matchup that we're going to see. You want to come out of the gate, get that first win, especially if you're EG. And who knows, man, C9. I mean, it's going to be a wild matchup. I'm looking forward to it. But
yeah, I don't know what to expect with that second matchup of the day because it is just, there are so many unknown quantities coming into that one. We kind of know what to expect from EG. We've seen a lot of them, but yeah, outside of it, it's going to be a wacky one.
Yeah.
Dude, Bren this morning was like scrounging on VLR, looking at like VODs of like collegiate games from like 2 years ago to try and learn about Jake.
Yeah,
It is really like such like unknown players coming
Yeah, I was
in.
hunting in the hidden archives trying to find footage on Rooney and Jake to try and find out what the hell they're going to be cooking, but it's so hard to tell, honestly.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So earlier on, by the way, I asked you guys about the to go ahead out there in the internet and vote in the poll. Thankfully, we got the results. We got the
Twitter's still
results.
up?
That's right. The poll is up. So let's go ahead and see who ended up walking away with the win. It was the Zoomer wins with a whopping 76.6%. Considering that Mimi has a bit of an old soul, I'm going to say, Bren, you are the winner.
Is that true? You think that? You're going to just take that?
Depends on the day.
With that.
You're okay with just losing the poll result?
Yeah.
I feel like if people were...
You know, Bren, I think you need it after losing the trivia very bad.
That's true.
So.
But I did give you the final question.
You did.
Because you cheated.
Yeah.
He had his finger on the bell for so long, just waiting for me to finish, and then, it's okay,
it was
Brent.
because I cheated.
We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. All right, well, we're getting ready for the players to walk onto the stage here in a moment here, and we'll get right into the action. MIBR, of course, taking on Loud, two Brazilian teams. Loud, of course, being our champions winners from 2022, now looking to, honestly, like, go back-to-back on champions and maybe win a 2023 title, which is very possible for them, but in their way is obviously the entire field of the VCT Americas League here. It's going to be a long journey for them.
Yeah, 9 weeks of play. So it's a long time.
Long time.
Listen, they are one of those teams, I think, that are going to be that heavy hitters. You know, when we were doing our way too early power ranking segment, we had them at number 1, and that was just undeniable, right? You know, no one was going to be arguing against that, I don't think, at any point.
I think we had MIBR at number 9 or number 10. They were very low down in those initial rankings. But the thing is, we only saw a little bit from this team, and it didn't look great. But remember, they have the coach who helped Loud to achieve their heights, to win a championship. I think with more time, there is potential in this roster. They have really strong players in Heat. I think FRZ on his past squads have had good ideas. It's just this challenge is so big against really the ultimate team in your region. They've still never lost to someone at home.
Yeah, like you're asking for a lot here, right, from MIBR. And you know, of course, this is the time where you're supposed to step up, right? So you're really leaning on those players to do so. But on the other side there for Loud, I mean, I immediately go to the coaching because I feel like the coaching staff on Loud, like what Fraud and those guys have been able to put together, they've built a system that I think is going to be replicated for a very long time because of how they took duelists, incorporated them into these more utility-driven roles, right? The way that he preps, the fact that he even freaking learned Portuguese so that he can speak to his players in between those breaks, like stuff like that, I think just goes like a super long way.
It's mad impressive, I think, as well, and I think it sets them up, like you said, for a very long time because they've got that structure in place.
Yeah.
And we're looking at Loud, honestly, to be one of those heavy hitters, I think, in the Americas as well. Definitely going to be punching for that top 3 spot minimum, I feel like, if they should be qualifying for Masters and most events this year. I think anything other than that would be a bit of a
utter
failure
disappointment.
on their part. Yeah, it would be, because they came off the back of champs. They were this close to the 2-time trophy, 2-time trophy when they went into lock-in and only losing in the finals when it was so close for them.
It's kind of just like, guys, like we held Optic to the same standard last year in NA, right? And I know in EMEA they held Fnatic to that standard, as well as Na'Vi and Pacific. They hold DRX to that standard. So I think it's fair to say, like, we have to hold Loud to that very same standard here in America.
I think what is going to be interesting, though, is that I feel like there are more teams to test them than there were last year in Brazil, right? We have the best teams from North America, the best teams from LATAM. I think Leviathan, NRG, those squads will play super close matches versus Loud. And there's a lot of teams in the league who can punch up. And even beyond that, Brazil itself has leveled up. Last year, you could very, very fairly say that it was a one-team region, that it was just Loud that could come to international events and perform. But Furia, I think, even if they had a bit of a rough showing, could be a team to step up. Maybe even MIBR can be that squad. It is a new opportunity, a new era here.
Yeah. Well, guys, look, I want to let everyone know at home, by the way, you probably noticed we started the show. We didn't start the game. It's completely fine. There were some tech issues on the stage. But we are going to be addressing that very shortly. But don't worry, though, because when we come back, we are actually going to get into the action. It's going to be a short break, so don't worry. Loud and MIBR take the stage. Walkouts are right around the corner. Don't go anywhere. In Brazil that are absolute powerhouses now go toe-to-toe right here on U.S. soil at the Riot Games Arena. It's going to be MIBR taking on Loud, and oh boy, I'm excited for this one, Mimi.
Loud still yet to lose to another Brazilian squad in a domestic matchup. And there's a ton of history between these teams to cap it off. They've played against each other domestically. They've played ranked against each other. And some of them have competed on the same team. But in this matchup, MIBR is clearly the underdog. Loud look incredible at lock-in. And this MIBR squad still have so much to prove.
Yeah, a lot to prove and a lot of weeks to do so. But this opening matchup is going to be more than a difficult task, I think, ahead of them as well. Because it's a Loud that is hungry to really prove that they're still capable of performing at such a maximum level. They were denied that trophy, obviously, at the tail end of lock-in, that 2-time. It would have been one of the first teams to do it.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, that's just going to be powering them up and firing them up even more.
What I find, it's still haven't gotten used to it, seeing Bazooka walk out in not a Loud, like not in his suit or not in a Loud jersey, like kind of throws me off a little bit. But I'm curious to see what he brings as a coach to this team here, because Bazooka coached Loud to a championship.
Yeah, Sadak talked a lot about how much impact Bazooka had in this team, how much of the strats that he helped to cook up, how much he helped the younger players to keep calm during these big matchups. Now he has to really start from scratch at MIBR, whereas on the other side, I'm sure they had to start over as well. Sadak had to redevelop this team with a new coach.
Yeah.
They've already proved that that project was successful. MIBR are yet to.
Yeah, it's going to be uphill battle, without a doubt, for MIBR. On the other side, for Loud, as you had mentioned, Mimi, right? You know, the project worked, the experiment worked. And now you can clearly see, you slot in players that can carry their own weight, and they will bring you those results. But here comes the map select here, Bren. Let's see where we end up getting for these picks and bans.
Yeah, I'm curious about which direction it's going to be heading towards here. And a fracture ban for Loud, I think this makes a lot of sense, actually. They were pushed pretty decently far by a lot of teams at lock-in. I think they ended up losing it as well once or twice. And MIBR removing Pearl also makes a ton of sense because Loud have been innovating on that map. They've been pushing it. I would say they're one of the better maps, better teams on that map in particular as well. So I think that does show that they've done their research into this one, and Split's going to be the pick.
Yeah, it's the best and the worst map gone for Loud in those first 2 vetoes. They'll pick into Split. This was generally their second choice after Pearl. They were running the double duelist comp here, and it was super successful. But MIBR, they head over to Lotus. This is a map that we have not really gotten to see them play on just yet. And the thing is that I felt that that Loud looked pretty solid here. They were playing their double controller Sky comp. It was a good idea, but MIBR want to pull something tricky out of the box.
Yeah, I think this makes a ton of sense for MIBR as well to go in that direction, though, because they haven't shown too much footage on it in terms of what they've own played. They've had plenty of time to counter strat and cook up what they want to do.
And it's quickly become a favorite amongst a lot of the players as well. We even heard them talk about Lotus and how like everyone kind of looks at it as like, you know, what Pearl was, I guess, to like Ascent, Lotus is to Haven, you know, so people are really liking it. Apparently.
So I think
like 3 site maps, you know.
This map pool makes a ton of sense, and as well for the decider ending up at Haven, I think this is a comfortable middle ground for both of these teams as well. So it makes a lot of sense that we've ended up here. You don't want to be playing against Loud on Ascent, so MIBR banning that one does make sense.
So the questions come to the first 2 maps now, because these are both maps that we know what to expect from Loud. It's really their 2 looks, the double dive on Split and the double controller on the second map of Lotus. But starting off on Split here, what has MIBR cooked up?
You know what I think is fascinating about this real fast is that Split, Lotus, those 2 maps, guess what were the 2 maps that Loud won against Fnatic in Lock-In? Same months, Split and Lotus.
Oh my God, he's playing Gecko. The first
Hey, we did it!
In VCT Americas, and it's Sadak pulling it out.
Gecko, as a look for one of these teams, has not been too great so far. We'll see if Loud end up pulling out something, anything else that's better, I think, from what we've already seen.
Yeah, it's going to be wild to see if they have something cooked up. No Killjoy picked into this map normally, so you don't expect it to be centered around that mosh pit. Maybe some lineups on the defensive side to bounce that Dizzy back. Ideas around playing the spike. It's going to be so exciting to see what Loud have innovated.
All eyes are going to be on the Gecko player, but we're all set here, so let's go ahead and send it over to our casters. And fun fact, they're actually the tallest people in all of esports. Not a lie. I would never lie to you. Doug and Bala.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you're absolutely right. In every sense of the word. Ball, how you doing down there, man?
Good, man.
Yeah?
But
you pretty fired up?
Yeah, I'm excited. My legs are shaking a little bit. And it's because I'm actually very excited about this game. This is the first time the Americas stream is actually going to be looking and taking a sneak peek at Brazilian teams playing against each other. So that's really cool. This audience, we're still kind of getting used to watching these guys. The only time we get to see them is at global events. So let's get this started.
Which, oddly enough, I mean, seeing them on the international stage is when historically they have been at their best, but now we get to see them on what is now their home turf.
Yeah.
In a sense, it really just kind of provides a different flavor, a different spice to the whole thing.
And the interesting thing is they're used to playing on land against each other, whereas the rest of the Americas, not so much. So Gecko being played, first the Americas, Mimi talked about it. Bren was trying to allude to a 39% win rate for Gecko picks across VCT. But if there's one team that I think could make it work, it's Loud. They've been leading in innovation on the meta. At Lock-In, they're the guys who push the Harbor Viper stuff. So if there's any team who could do it, it's Loud.
Yeah, we'll see what they're able to do with it. I think, you know, historically, we've already seen Meta develop where he safely uses utility from a place where he can re-pick up the orb and then farm it over and over again. And I think that has been the direction. But we'll see how they choose to use it here. 4 across mid, while it's only Les playing back by A. Dash shot onto the side, MIBR already have full control.
Yeah, Les was playing fully off-site. You mentioned the mid control that Loud was going for. That's netted. MIBR, a free site, free plant, and a lot of time. You see right now, Counson using his Trailblazer to find and spot. If anybody's playing, he spots both players trying to hold down the A ramp position.
Oh, this could be trouble. The thing is, it's not just Muriz, it's here too. If he drops, they're not going to be expecting another. Meanwhile, there's a pinch coming in on the other side as well. Again, note where RGL is on the minimap. He really can't move from there. Sada can't find any space as Kawanzin has already fallen. Aspas creeping his way forward. He's gonna spot 2 members, drops the first, the second still creeping around. As Sadak and Aspas have made this thing interesting. Heat in a 1v2. Sadak weak. Time not on their side. The 2 players are just too much. As Loud get the first.
Sadak did such a good job with the information that Kalenzin's Trailblazer did get there. While the rest of his team fell on a ramp, he's still able to clean up the 2 players who are holding back. Aspas immediately pulls out the ground vault from there, and then Sadak's goal is just to get Aspas to half, and after that, he can do the rest. Great pistol from Loud on a full 5v5 retake.
It's interesting too how many more times we'll see MIBR attempt to approach A the way that they did. There was no interest in taking ramps. There was no interest in taking heaven. They were just fully committed to the site. This time it seems like a lean towards B from the attacking side. Early investment of presence towards garage. And much like we saw in the previous round, there's not a ton here. This time it's 2Es who's going to be first contact.
Got 2 stars there though. FRZ cheats the orb. Playing a little dangerously against Heat, who you know has the aim to be able to hit that shot. He's got the Sheriff in hand too. Big goal here for MIBR was just to collect that orb, see if they maybe can get a pick on 2Es, but rotating back now. Kalenzin's Trailblazer again does get information. 2nd round in a row. But they are seeding A ramp once again. So not only will they give access to that orb, but the way that they're playing on site too, they might be able to get another plant down. That would be huge on the eco.
It's interesting how we just saw Aspas and Kalenzin change positions. It was Aspas who was up in heaven. He has now taken the space that was previously vacated by Kalenzin.
That knife was really close, so it clears close, but doesn't really find any suppresses.
This is interesting here. They're far more interested in getting up towards heaven this time. The flash is going to get some info. You've got plenty of guns on this side too. You have less with utility. You've got Spectres the whole way through. And with only 30 seconds left, you kind of have to commit to A here.
Fuel might be coming back up in time. The cooldown on his wall just came back. He's not going to be able to pop it though. The cross is massive.
Yeah, they tried to overwhelm. And well, actually going 1 for 1 here is not bad at all, but with 10 seconds left, they've got to get the spike out quick, and Aspas is there to greet them. The spike hits the ground, and so do the rest of MIBR.
That's just in time too, to make that super clean.
Find your strength along the way.
And the reason that was low on time for MIBR, remember how much they spent to go for B, to get that orb. And then you just don't know, with the control that you have, how RGL is playing the A defense to actually watch if they're pushing. He's playing so far back. Nice shot from Heat. It's super important that he gets going. This guy is taking 40% of the opening duels for this team. And that stat kind of speaks to how the guy plays, but also his pitfalls. He is so aggressive to a fault.
He does kind of feast or famine, doesn't he? We'll see which one is on the table today. Again, MIBR down early, but there's still so much Valorant to play.
Poison's off.
And you look at the bonus equipment here for Loud. It's Spectres and a Judge.
All right.
This Judge is close though.
Yes, it is. The flash through, and there it is. It delivers the first. Falls. Les gets a second. And this is already spelling disaster for MIBR. In a circumstance in which they should be able to fight equally, to really have the gun advantage, to find themselves down in numbers with just under a minute left in the round is troublesome.
Having to resort to the lurks, but Flash gonna spot him too.
Toxin screen down.
Barely has enough time to get all the way up ramp there with the delay from that flash. Now they wait to cycle again.
Toxins going up.
Mary's dropping a little bit of utility, keeping Sadak at a safe distance for now.
You know Sadak in the last round, he was playing that
30
rope.
seconds left.
That's definitely part of his idea. And that hurts. Aspas anchoring.
Yeah, with the judgment, this one, Aspas is able to get one and tuck away to safety.
What kind of discipline is that from Aspas?
I was about to say that. That's so clean.
That's you already got one. It's a 5v2 at that situation.
10 seconds
Save the
left.
Phantom, because it was, this guy was the one who was up top ramp, by the way. Falls all the way back. Look at them, they're all chasing. Oh my goodness.
Poison's off.
Here it is.
They're gonna get to him in time. Spotted. Gun dropped.
So good. 2Es just jumping across, baiting himself. For the rest of the team, they knew exactly the situation, where he would go.
This is an excellent start for a squad that I think expectations were very high, right? They were talking about the 2 early preseason rankings. Everyone had them at #1. And while now that we have a bit more data to operate off of, if we're just talking about this map, I mean, Loud just, it's early, I know, but they seem well ahead of MIBR now.
And in terms of just ideas that they want to go for on the bonus there, just buying a judge, making it really cheap for him, using that in mid. Split is such a good map for it. Squeezing every little inch out of the meta that they can.
Blades used. Aspas with the op. Dashes away for now. While once again, space is taken by MIBR. And the thing is, they've been successful here. That's not the hard part. It's executing from here where they've struggled.
That Trailblazer was for so much farther back, though, than on the pistol. So Kalanzine did not get the information about where Muri's is.
Spike planted.
But it's not going to be a heaven plant. Oh, Aspas alone.
Lineups, too, so keep an eye on that. They're fighting all around elbows. Kills get traded. Sadak finds another 2 with the judge.
He's still alive, though. He's got the knives. That's the dangerous part. And you pointed out the snake bites that Muri's has.
He hasn't fired him off yet. There he goes. Set up for it. The sibilant sound of the snake bite soars across the sky as it lands onto the spike.
Ooh, no, that's a miss.
A little off.
That's a miss. And it's the same lineup. The second one's going crazy, too. There's no chance.
No way.
We defend this place.
He forgot his lineups, Doug.
Win.
He just forgot the wrong position. I've never seen that.
That is concerning for MIBR. I mean, that's a fundamental mistake.
I was thinking, okay, at lock-in, the pressure got to them, but the pressure in that sense was the crowd and the region all cheering for them and putting so much on it. And you could see them crumble because of that, but now, I don't know. Server time. Not quite enough here for MIBR.
This already has the writings on the wall of getting ugly very fast. What can MIBR do to rectify the situation? Once again, a lean towards A. I wonder if they try to explore mid through this, because you take a look at where RGL is. What's the call from here? No, it's going to be back towards A, and once again, it is 2E's who's trying to anchor on the site.
Thrash is coming through. He's going to jump through heaven, too. No.
Hey, that's the kind of thing that gets you online. JCZ with 1, the Seekers used, spike planted.
Aspas so far away. It's the first flank coming in from Les.
And he's not looking. Oh, he switches all the timing. I thought it was going to be another problem. But no, RGL able to clean him up. Sonic falling as well. Now Aspas, the lone man standing with an op.
Yeah, he's
plenty
gone.
of money, no less. But yeah, he's out of there.
Surprised to see as well Sadak's mosh that he threw down in hell. Didn't quite cover the player who was there. So some little inconsistencies with the utility so far in this game. And you can tell what MIBR's plan is. Continue to hit and batter this A side while relying on post-plant utility from both RGL and Muriz. Consistently, those two players are trying to play and hold up on A ramp. Even in the instances of last round, Muriz playing so far back that he's not even a factor in the gunfight as the retake begins. But plenty of money here for Loud. That round should not hurt in the grand scheme of things. And if anything, they should now start to be coming up with a better plan here on the A side.
And they're going to have a couple of ultimates online, too. They already have the pin on. Kalanzine and 2E's are both 1 away from having theirs, respectively. So economy's in a good place from a financial perspective. Ults as well.
And you could tell as well, they switched up the Viper wall. Instead of using it in mid, Les is just going to ult. See if there's any counter here from MIBR at all. Knife immediately, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, the ult can't come online for a few seconds now. Right there.
It did cover it up with 2E's of smoke, so should be able to get the Viper Orb back up. Not spending it, though.
Trailblazer from JCZ once again, clearing out some space. This is a bit different MIBR setup here. The spike is still back towards B.
Yeah, it's starting to lean its way over, though. See if they pivot off of the information that Loud just got, that they were still on ramp. Obviously, you expected as well with the Trailblazer that just happened.
Destroyed.
Both sides denying quite a much.
Oh, this is going to be chaos again. Look at the setup that they have. They have Kawanzin close by.
Aspas too aggressive. They're not going to worry about this top A ramp.
The flash should get a ton of info. Countered. They know there's presence. Either way, when does the dash of France come? There it is. Les drops JZZ, but he trading back. Jet against Jet.
30 seconds.
Les. Orb goes down and the kills go to.
Spike down A.
He has so much to do before him. Yeah, he's taking care of the leader for Loud, but he still has 3 targets.
It's making so much noise too.
Well, I mean, he just doesn't have any time to do anything otherwise, and the spike is on the other side.
Yeah, Tui's just needs to leave
10
already.
seconds left.
And the round is wrapped. They want the gun too. They don't want just the round win.
Yeah, they're gonna get it.
They're choking them out economically on these rounds where there's no chance for MIBR any further. And that was where they got Aspas immediately off of the angle. He didn't get any value from the op, has to dash away in sight, and they still kill him too. It's just this ramp push. This smoke was just not in time. And Les capitalizes on it. He continues to be an insane player for Loud. In the grand finals of champions, I think a lot of people would have put him at the caliber of finals MVP against Optic last year.
Yep.
And this is now a pure Sentinel meta. He's playing Viper here on Split. But he's the type of guy who just continuously is a solid anchor, a solid lurker. And it's situations like that where he shines.
Really curious to see here out of the timeout how MIBR choose to go about this. A has been unsuccessful, to say the least. They haven't really tested the waters B at all, and then even mid, they've had some presence, but really not a ton to speak of or to show up.
When you say presence, like it's just poking, right?
Sure, yeah.
It's not even walking up. It's not challenging ropes. In that situation too, like last, remember the Viper ult was such a conversation that I was trying to have, and they didn't challenge him, and he saved it. And then he rotates because there's just no presence. I think the one thing that you could see right now on the scoreboard, Sadak with the Gecko 7 and 4. You're not really seeing that utility on display, but I think a lot of it is actually having to do with him clearing mid late and allowing Les to rotate.
Already seeing a change out of MIBR.
Shutting them down.
Let's see if this time they decide to go B.
Yes, the first time they're using the Trailblazer to actually take mid.
And they spotted 2 key players here. The question is, do they fight? Do they try to go into it? He ran into a wall. Still okay for now.
That's a little hesitance there. The idea definitely to go fast. And as the Trailblazer spots 3 potentially, definitely 2. They don't go for more. Just going into ropes with heat. He clears it all the way. And the Trailblazer again just used to clear A. This time, no information found. There's gonna be a flash follow-up here from Kawanzin. And Les and Aspas are the ones who are on this B side. Usually you had Tui's here too. You saw him challenge once.
Note here, Les still has the ult. The molly, and then he gets away, perhaps drops a pit. The thing is, Aspas may be in some trouble here. He's got to find some space to get away, and he does.
Such a good pit, though. Gives Aspas room to evacuate this side, and they don't have anywhere to plant. And that's not in this pit, and Les is literally safe.
Spike down B.
No dash here.
30 seconds
Aspas taking a little bit of damage, still feeling pressure. Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of room to go anywhere.
How's he not dead?
He's got blades. Forget about dying. He wants to go in and take more of a fight. And he does. FRZ falls to his death right before him. Op still in play here.
Seeker's coming through the pit too. They're gonna chase these players down. Oh wait, there's a gap.
He didn't see him. 13 seconds left. The spike not planted. Aspas trying to go aggressive, and it does not matter. Through the chaos, Loud still reigns supreme.
That pit was insane.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Such a cool idea from Les. The only thing there is it gave that little gap for them to get the plant down. Aspas would have killed them before the plant even went down. But it's funny, you're trapped. You really don't have any idea what to do after that too. So he just throws the molly, falls back into spawn, and instantly pits. That covers the entire site. How do you clear that when you've already used your Trailblazer, when you've already used so many of your tools, you don't have Seekers? There's really not much actually on the side of MIBR to use.
Perhaps the third look will be the different one. Perhaps the successful one. The op is still in play for Aspas.
I'm surprised there that it's Heat who's jump spotting, while FRZ goes for the swing. I would love to see that the opposite direction.
Sure.
Just because FRZ, I don't want him to be taking the risk to challenge. If anything, he has the utility that they need later on.
Knife, yeah, absolutely. And the truth is, we've seen Heat at his best, and we know how good he can be, right? So put the ball in his hands, see what he can do with it. Either way, Heat's still around, while Kawanzin and FRZ are not.
Yeah, Kawanzin getting a little bit... That's not even unlucky. They just mistimed the wall coming down or the smoke coming down, and Mures is right behind it. That was not Mures' intention, by the way. That was not his smoke. Ooh.
You want to fight it?
Good from Toys to instantly pop. He needs to be safe here. He needs to get off the site. They have a cosmic divide of their own on Tui, so they're going to use that for retake. That was the entire plan the entire time.
How cheeky do they get, though?
Welcome to my
Hit invested. What utility? Sadak has all of his utility. He's got everything.
You can think of a wingman defuse here.
A Dizzy to get info on where they are. I mean, there's so many tools at their disposal. There it is, wingman the first, the Dizzy from up top, and he's so screwed. Man, there's nowhere to go, but holy smokes, what a shot from JZZ.
A little success on the other side of the map, but the true test was in that pit. JZZ coming up huge, and the same thing on the other side. I would have loved more. Even though that combination from Sadak was quite nice with the Dizzy and the wingman to take out in one player, you need to be clearing the pit.
Yeah, instead of going for a fight.
Exactly. Maybe Kawanzin still had his Trailblazer. Maybe they were relying on that. Now, Kawanzin was dead early in that round, so that pit perfectly timed.
Either way, MIBR able to find a little bit more success. And they've gone back to what they were kind of going back to what they were doing early in this half. Where you have Muriz so much farther up, he's going to get spotted by the Trailblazer.
Look at the way that Aspas has taken all that space with that Trailblazer. He's in front of the wall now. They've cleared the backside of this, so he is just watching for any push. And Kawanzin fully rotated so he could play a combo with Sadak.
Meanwhile, MIBR is rotating right back into the op that you were just pointing out.
They got Seekers here. They still have a flash as well. They can force Aspas off, but do they use it that early?
I mean, surely you want to save some of that utility to scale up a bit further. No, Aspas has dash. Seeker's invested. Yeah, he's going to give the space up. But do they overwhelm him? Are they able to hunt him down? Oh my gosh! How? Through the smoke! The shot lands! Everything going their way, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. FRZ trying to equalize the situation. The flash not good enough as FRZ falls, and once again JZZ is going to follow suit. 3 for less.
What is that round? There's minutia to break down, but I'm just still freaking out at that shot from Aspas. What in the world is that? No, seriously.
What is that?
That is disgusting.
Surely we'll take a look at that one more time. Yeah, that's just outrageous. And dog, like, sometimes things are just hitting, right? Like, sometimes it's just, you just can do no wrong.
And it's funny too, because he got pushed off. Like, he got pushed off the angle. Look at this. What? What? What?
The crosshair wasn't even on him.
There was nothing to be on there. 7-2.
Well, when you're good, you're good. And Loud looked good. Heat pushing the pace for the first time, and again, just destroyed. Heat finding no space, no agency.
Well, this is a good introduction to Brazil versus Brazil. Because Loud simply just don't lose these. And that might be the magic that they rely on.
And you gotta give credit to MIBR too. They're starting to try different things, right? Like,
nah, he's feeling himself.
One enemy remaining.
There is nothing. No answers. Different things, doesn't matter.
Very quickly becoming a slaughter. An 8-2 lead for Loud. Aspas is just teeing off on Heat every single round. Just no answers. You're absolutely right.
What did the Death say earlier? 21-0 in Brazil in regional matchups for Loud. And this is, I think a lot of people would have thought this is the opportunity for something like that to happen. Because it's a new roster, because you now have Tuis, you now have Kalanzin. But these guys are just so good. And the funny part too is in the offseason when Sasi and Pancata leave this team, you think disaster might have struck. You think, oh goodness, who can they even get? And my first thought goes to the players who are now sitting on the stage across from them. It goes to Heat.
Yep.
It goes to Mures. It goes to somebody like MW, who's now on Furia. But instead, they go for the guys that, you know, not many people really know of.
It's a good thing they're the ones making the decisions, not us. Just an unreal performance. And it's early too. Second timeout called by MIBR. And you wonder at this point, when you're getting, when you're just getting destroyed the way that they are, how much depth is there to the playbook? I mean, surely you've exhausted a lot of your options at this point.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of this comp, and we saw this yesterday on this map as well, a lot of this double controller Astra Viper stuff comes down to defaulting quite well. And the way that Loud is playing is canceling a lot of that. They're doing a lot of re-clearing of space late in the round. Kalanzin, the timings of his flashes, the Trailblazer as well. But I would love to see MIBR start to default a little bit more towards other places. They continue to fall back into this A side. You talk about trying a lot of things, but if you would look at like the stats of how often they're hitting this A side, it's most of these rounds.
Yeah.
I can think of 2 B rounds off the top of my head. 2 out of 10, that's not much. Ooh, that wall's coming down, Les. That is very dangerous.
Here.
Aspas with the cross trained. Couple of members from MIB are close on the challenge. And note, this is again the defaulty wall, right? So you have the option to, because of this wall, get into ropes and try to exploit the rest of the map after establishing some presence A, perhaps drawing out utility, things like that.
Yeah, but they have conditioned Loud to lean back over towards A and start to rely on maybe an anchor setup here. But they pivot through ropes, and this is a really good idea. Now Sadak falling into Tuis. They're going to be put to the test.
They should have utility back up now. And note, we haven't really shown. That was bold. That was aggressive.
Toxin screen down.
The wide swing
30
out.
30 seconds left.
Towards nothing. Asana is able to get one. And now MIBR firmly in control here.
Here.
No reason not to go for it here if you're Cloud. You've got money for days. You have a comfortable lead. And MIBR losing this round would be outrageously devastating. But it does not look like it's going to be the case.
Okay, well, the last round they won, remember, Aspas had to save his op this time. See if they can try to hunt him down. I don't know if there's any reason to, given how late this is in the half. We're 1 round away from the final. He'll be able to get an op. There's plenty of money on this side, no matter what.
And for MIBR,
but they're still chasing him. They're still chasing him. Look, there's no reason to. Given the ult situation as well, nobody is close to an ult. Maybe RGL, maybe FRZ gets one and then gets this kill and then get an orb and another kill. That's the only reason to. This is finally a normal split performance in terms of the defensive sidedness of this map. It's been weird for this map since its return to the pool. I think it's because the meta has focused in. Remember, Loud was kind of the team that was full send on the double duelist. A lot of times when I see that, even in this meta, even though it's more prominent right now, all this aggressive push goes on. I think of a team who just doesn't have enough time to prep what they really want to. So they focus on just the basics.
They're going to try the same thing that found success in the previous round. But it's interesting here. FRC is 1 point away from having his null command online. I expected a faster, more aggressive hit off of that ult. But it seems like they once again want to take A and then work their way in through mid. But Loud seemingly a bit more prepared. They didn't clear him. They didn't clear him at all.
Oh, that flash.
They haven't cleared anything on this side. He's just dancing around in the sky. And Loud again with full control. I don't fully understand what the plan was there. But either way, MIBR down. Now equalized, still in this thing. JZZ with the plant.
RGL playing a lot more aggressive there as well. He didn't plant yet. Aspas has so much more time now.
Plenty of health too, and info on where one of the members are. Aspas has a shot at this thing. This 1v2 is well within reach.
Farsi's trying to get in the spot to safe plant, while RGL comes and plays to his rescue.
Aspas.
15 seconds. He's getting it down to a spot where once they plant, he's going to find a 1v1.
Or at least attempt to.
10 seconds planted.
We'll see if he's gifted that. The flash in his face. Aspas creeping forward. Slowly but deliberately looking for the 1v1, and he finds it. JCC falls. There's just one left now. Blades online. Jet thriving in situations like this. And looking for the shots, and no, RGL with the swing gets MIBR to 4.
Switching sides.
8-4 half after all that is not bad from MIBR. You got to give it to him. Able to come out with the rounds that they find themselves at an advantage early on. Not letting Loud convert on massive 4v5s or anything like that.
RGL, huge that round. Secures MIBR in 8-4 half. We're going to throw it down to the desk to break down what they've seen. Golden Boy, take it away.
Thank you so much, Doug and Bala. And 8-4 at the half, as noted by our casters here. But goodness gracious, Loud looks so freaking good. But here's the interesting thing here. We were going nuts about the Gecko pick. I mean, everyone popped off in the arena. It was awesome. But what has Gecko done so far, Mimi?
I haven't really liked particularly much of the Gecko I've seen thus far, but here I felt like they didn't have super cool stuff, but I don't think it really mattered because they were just so incredible fundamentally. And I think a lot of the rounds, they just had the perfect reaction, which is what Loud was showing at Lock-In. And to take a look at one of those, this is just absolute perfection. It was Aspas initially getting pressured on this B site, and then Les pops up this Viper's Pit form to support him and give him these weird little corners to hang around and take these different peaks.
Yeah, this was honestly a bit egregious that they didn't manage to kill him in this moment as well. I think it just speaks dividends about the skill level of Loud as a team, willing to just play off of each other. The trade's instantaneous. You can see it at the tail end there. Just a sublime team from top to bottom. But A4, as a half, honestly, is not that bad for MIBR. Like, that's salvageable.
Especially considering that at the beginning of the game, right, you were seeing those anchor players, you know, trying to do the anchor role, right, get the lineups, and they were missing a few of them. Like, even with MIBR and the, you know, some of the errors that they made, they're still playing great. And, like, you're still holding on to Loud, which, considering how Aspas is playing, is quite the task.
Yeah, it was shocking, honestly, that they managed to get this half as reasonable as it ended up being. It was just 2 huge pop-off rounds at the end. But thus far, Aspas has looked unkillable.
Yeah,
once he got the operator in his hands, this guy was insane.
Yeah, just popping off. I mean, we saw numerous examples of him just quick scoping as well, getting away with murder, dodging and weaving, ducking around a utility, and nobody could put a stop to this guy. You know, if he ended up winning the clutch at the end as well, that just would have been the cherry on top. We probably would have had to scrap the entire halftime, just build like an Aspas package, to be honest. But yeah, the guy's just being that staple guy in this composition. Now, he doesn't have as many resources to work with, though, now that Sadak isn't playing that Raze, though.
Yeah, but second half, it's the attacking side. That's where Gecko can really cook up interesting things. I expect Loud to have something more interesting for us.
Yeah, I am too, Mimi. Well, let's see if that's going to be the case and send it back over to our casters for our second half. It's Doug and Bala.
Thank you, Golden Boy. Disaster avoided for MIBR, as that very quickly could have gotten out of hand, but now they find themselves within reach, and now they find themselves on what statistically is the better half.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, disaster still could be abound. Loud seemed to me that they were on fire. And regardless of the scoreline, that could continue on this attack side. They were so good at locking on attack side.
Pistol early on going in favor. No shot, dude. Cowan team's so good.
Wingman plant. Yeah!
We did it!
Thanks for the man. Last player standing.
And now Les finding value across the middle of the map too. RGL. Who was a hero previously, seems to be back up to his previous antics. He's already gotten 2, but still 2 to go.
Picked up the gun. that makes him look like he's feeling himself.
He's got a high-low setup, back B2, and time not on his side.
2 1-taps, give it to me.
I need a
Surely not, right? Uh-oh, they're pushing him. They're both stunned. Tui's cleans it up. Loud gets 9. MIBR really needed that one.
And the pistols keep rolling for Loud. And they keep being a problem here for MIBR at lock-in. They only played 2 maps, so very small sample size, but they lost 1 out of 4. And so far, losing both of them here. That hurts. Little bro!
Have you seen a wingman defuse yet?
Yeah.
In pro play?
No.
I haven't either.
Well, I mean, like,
we need
close
to go
by.
nuts
Like,
if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, like after the fact, but that doesn't really count.
No, yeah, that doesn't count.
Needs to be a ninja defuse.
Oh, they're gonna push right into FRZ, and the Trailblazer should spot him. The DP, the Trailblazer, the wingman, and FRZ falls.
That's discipline right there. You can see that going a complete other way.
Yeah. I mean, really, if not for the Trailblazer turning back.
Sure, but they had the double up with the wingman too. Super interesting. I think Sadak just coming through, making sure he re-clears everything, no matter whether utility seems to have done the job or not.
You know, I think, honestly, that point that you just made...
There it goes again! God, I love you guys.
I just want to see it again. There it is. Full screen that thing, man!
Thanks, Wink. Back to me.
But the point you were just making around being very thorough and clearing things out, even when utility should have done that for you, that feels like the type of nuance that separates a good team from a great team.
Yes.
It's that discipline. It's that meticulous approach to everything you do.
God, he's actually just farming with this utility. You've seen it before. That wingman dizzy combo, dude. I was watching all the MEA games with the Gecko usage, and you know where that stat mostly comes from at 39% before this weekend, and Gecko's win rate. And they're trying to do some nerdy stuff like throw the dizzy up super high, like
the tech.
Sadak's just
He's
literally
just
throwing both of his pieces of utility and getting flashes down. It's ridiculous.
We need to start keeping like a wingman plant counter.
Okay, that's 2.
2?
Yeah.
2 so far?
We'll need your help, guys, for counting that.
Because we will inevitably forget. Spam through utility, Heat not finding anything. And Sadak with the spike. See if we get a third. He is 1 point away from having that thrash.
Oh, through the smoke, they lined up. No, that is so nice from JCZ.
Thrash is ready.
You mentioned the thrash. This is the bonus, though. Not quite the round you want to invest it in.
Well, I don't know, man. It's so early in the half, right?
Well, especially not after losing 2. This round already, the win percentage goes way down.
Vision.
Yes, Loud is good. Yes, they had some of the craziest man down win rates at lock-in.
Dude, you're setting up a crazy round win for Loud right now. You realize it? The flash jeep is not going to get any info. It's last slip behind enemy lines. Not able to get the second.
Dodge the knife. He's rotating because of that. Mirrors is in trouble. We just talked about discipline. Are they this disciplined?
Well played by Miris.
Answer is no, Doug. That angle is really good once utility is gone. Okay, so once you clear out a bunch of players, play that off angle because that is so difficult to clear. You're trying to worry about stairs. You're trying to worry about the other side of heaven. You're trying to worry about down below.
You have so much to deal with, yeah.
You see where you actually can literally tell in that image right there where Tui's is aiming down at B main. Well done from Miris. But now is where things get put to the test even further here by MIBR. Full guns on Loud, and they've got that thrash that you were talking about.
There it is. Invested early on. We'll see.
The knife missed him.
We'll see how he chooses to use this. Yeah, so he goes up, takes space, and then comes back so that he can easily pick it back up again. Note, Thrash, the only of his orbs that you can only use twice in a round. So you use it, you pick it up, you get 10 seconds, and then you get to use it again.
And you can see as well, he's doing that with all of the Dizzies and Wingmans too. Making sure that they take the map control so he can instantly pick it up. There he goes. Thrash again, gonna cover Dizzy. Or Wingman, excuse me.
A little friendly help there. Wingman looking for it! As the fight happens on the other side, now up to 3 on the Wingman counter.
Take it out.
As FRZ and JZZ, the only 2 that remain.
One enemy remaining.
And there's not much left to hold back the line.
It's a crazy situation.
Down with. My ult's ready.
JZZ finding a little bit of cover behind the smoke, able to clear one up. How much more can he find? Spike is ticking, and once again, you see the discipline from Loud on full display, not showing anything. You have 2 members up in heaven, you have Astra Stars down too.
Yeah, worst 2 members to have. Worst 2 agents to have up in heaven in this situation, but I was saying, weird situation to be in because they planted the spike and there were still 2 players from MIBR in the site. And they just backed off. That was a perfect, I mean, if there's any situation you want in a heaven plant, it's for the only players alive to be the ones who are anchoring on A site. We're up to 3 now. 2 more rounds for Loud to win.
I'm so proud of him. Staying focused while everyone's dying around him.
Lil Bro has one job. He's gonna do it.
Another round in favor of Loud. And a pistol for FRZ. Heat feeling a lot of the pressure.
And that's right there. Look at this. Again, what I'm talking about. They continue to take the map control. He picks up both of his pieces of utility and also is maximizing the value. When you throw it Dizzy way up in the sky, you're not really getting the same full value that you would get if you throw it forward.
Scout destroyed.
It is interesting to see, too, how intent he is on using both together every time.
They work really well together.
That's a lot of info.
And the other thing there, too, is they're recognizing Heat's playing alone there. And he doesn't have anybody to break it for him.
RGL's in trouble, too. He's playing alone, yeah. And they didn't really know where he was initially.
Les is so deep, so fast. No chance, you know.
One enemy remaining.
Once again, everything just falling apart for MIBR.
Sadak, why are you planting, man?
Just messing with the counter.
Come on. You're going to maximize this.
Match point.
We're still at 3, right?
Still at 3.
3? Okay.
Jeez.
Dude, yeah.
Dude.
I mean,
how do they find these guys? I mean, Kawanzin, I think that one's a little bit more obvious. But they're both so sick.
And a light buyout from MIBR. Spectres, Stingers, a Guardian, the best thing on the menu.
And they're forcing a B hit so fast, too. Waiting for a knife, then going in. Knife is hit over towards A. They see that. And they're ready to pounce.
Yeah, they have Les's pit to work around, too. There's Wingman, there's Dizzy, there's a Trailblazer, there's everything. Once again, another shot.
Sonic farming as well.
That's 4. And then the pit, and I mean, that should really secure things.
This game's
here.
over. I mean, this game's over. What a performance from Loud here. One more round to clean it up, but it's only 3 players.
What can he do? Nothing. The Thrash, I mean, just a little added flavor, a little something extra. There's really just no way in here. JCZ with a Stinger and a 1v5, right?
Just an insane performance from Loudon. And there's so much to break down on this map. When you go back and actually look how Sonic was using the Gecko in comparison to everybody else that we've seen so far. A clean win, probably the cleanest Gecko win we've seen so far in VCT.
Not that there have been many, but yes, yeah, absolutely right. And I think the fun thing about watching this Loud team is I think that map kind of highlighted it is you see all of their strengths, right? You saw the individual mechanical skill of, say, Kawanzin and Les, things like that. You see the game plan that they had and how they executed it to perfection. You see the macro plans that they have. They're just so complete. And the funny thing is you kind of know that, right? When Loud gets on the stage, you go, yeah, Loud's really good. We know, whatever. And then you see it and you go, dang, they're really, really good.
And you would have thought, after watching that first half, Ospas is farming, right? You would have thought he's at the top of the scoreboard. It's less, actually. 20-8. That's a scoreline. 8 deaths. Just ridiculous. And while MIBR did get a few rounds, we thought maybe there's a chance because of the way that the half ended. It was 8-4. They got like rounds back into it. It was not much in that game.
Unreal performance from Les. We're going to throw it to a break. When we return, the series will continue. Stay tuned.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.